Hi, I'm Will Bruin, and I was just recognized as a Seattle Sounders legend. Now I get to do voice reads for the Sounder at Heart podcast network.
Here we go. Come on! Hey, O'Shan! Let's go!
The Seattle Sounders have done it! MLS Cup winners!
Here comes Rui Diaz through the middle to crown it for Seattle!
The Sounders rule the region!
Seattle Sounders is campeón! All creatures great and small!
You know, what was the thought process in terms of who you decided to use and who you didn't?
Ever since Sounders at Heart wrote a commentary that we didn't take Gold Cup seriously.
This episode of Nos Arietes is sponsored by Full Pull Wines, a Seattle-based wine retailer and proud sponsor of Nos Arietes since 2011. Full Pull was founded in 2009, is based in Seattle, and is owned and operated by longtime Sounders supporters. They offer the best boutique wines of the world to members of their mailing list, with special focus on their home, the Pacific Northwest. All right. So you guys were, I understand you guys were playing poker before this.
Yeah.
Who's the top poker player on the team?
In different ways, I think.
Different styles of playing for sure.
I play really tight, so
You fold a lot of hands?
I fold a lot of hands.
Okay.
Usually when I bet, I have it, and so I've been using my image quite a lot here.
Okay.
So I was a big winner last year, but this year I've started off a little slow.
I would say I'm a combination of two. I play tight sometimes, but I also feel like I bluff at times where it kind of throws people off. But I would say right in the middle for me. And then best poker player, I mean, we can't say who that is because then it'll get to their head.
So so who are the normal poker players? Let's get there.
It's me, Christian, Jackson, Albert, Jordan, Danny, and Kalani. And
Okay.
Yamar.
Okay, so I'm going to guess Danny, he's from Vegas, right? He's got to have a decent foundation of playing. Something tells me Yamar is also a good player.
Yeah, Danny probably plays the most, I would say.
Okay.
He plays outside of our friend group.
Okay.
Yamar, he also knows how to play. I mean, when we first started, I would say half of us didn't know how to play. And we kind of learned throughout the year. But Danny, Jackson, and Yamar were the ones who came in knowing, and Albert.
Okay, I was guessing Albert was probably because the reason I say Yamar, shout out Nico Moreno. He is friends. He knows Yamar pretty well, and I understand that he is not out there throwing money around. He's not like Yamar is not about playing games to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's like that, but there's oftentimes, you can get tilted and he becomes a bit of a chaser, chasing flushes and straights.
Okay. Oh yeah. I can vibe with that. I am addicted to playing hands. I just cannot fold. Like if I have a decent starting hand, I am very bad about, like, I will throw away a lot of antes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
what I will say about our friend group and the way we play, it's not a traditional poker game.
Okay.
People will start to have vendettas against someone and they will call anything just to stick it to them and get lucky on the river.
Okay.
So it can happen where sometimes that happens and it's just an untraditional poker game.
So I'm guessing you're mostly playing Hold'em then, Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of the easy one to have a group with.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh,
for
great.
sure.
I played a game, not to get too I played with my dad one time, and his buddies, it was dealer's call. Every single game was a different game. So in a round, so we would play for a couple hours. We probably played 12 different styles of game, play high, low. I was out of my depth.
Yeah.
Like completely, I have no idea what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for us, because we've played the same game for so long, people start changing their strategies and having the vendettas, like Alex said, and all of a sudden you'll lose to someone that has Jack 2, and you're like, why the heck are you in that hand? And so it's tricky, our game. The highs are high, the lows are low, for sure.
All right. Well, I guess this is a good intro. I'm Jeremiah Shan. I'm here with Cristian Roldan and Alex Roldan. We're here in Marbella. Beautiful weather here we're having. You guys this has been following you from Portugal, right? From Seattle, I guess, technically.
Well, insane, because when we left Seattle, it was the clearest of skies.
Oh,
for our first 2 weeks, I think here, 10 days or so, there was zero rain in Seattle. And so, frustrating to leave Seattle when it's fully nice like that.
Yes.
But in the end, right, we're here with our team, getting pampered and trying to work on some tactics that we've been watching and trying to learn.
So was today the first day that was bad enough that you guys couldn't actually get outside?
There might have been one other day, but yeah, for the most part, it's been manageable in terms of training. But yeah, today the fields were unplayable. So it was one of those decisions that was just better to keep us inside here.
Especially with games tomorrow.
Yeah.
2 games tomorrow, which I guess they're having to find alternate venues because the weather's bad enough. Give people an idea. The weather is bad enough that they're not letting you guys play on the fields because they're not built basically to withstand this kind of weather.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of preseason, part of our coordinator's job. That's why he gets paid the big bucks. He'd probably argue with me about that, but things happen. Like you have to adjust real quick. And that's footy for you, right? Like things can change so fast, and now we might play on an alternate field, and it might be turf. It's just going to be different for us.
Yeah. So do you still find that there's a benefit to, even though you're not out here enjoying the weather necessarily, you're not getting as much rest and relaxation, but there's still something to be said about spending 18-ish days with your teammates, or does it start to get like maybe too much?
I find it, I see both sides to it. I think preseason is ultimately the time where you can really hone in on building a culture, getting to know your teammates. I think a lot of people overlook what it is to build a culture and how that impacts your season.
Mm-hmm.
I think last year was a great example. I mean, from the start of the year to the end of the year, our group was really tight. We really focused in on that, and I think it really helped us in some of those tournaments. And then, especially the style which we play, every guy stepped in and played their part, and so I think that's important. But at the same time, being away from your families and be with the same people for 18 days can ultimately come to a part where you're like, okay, I kind of need to see my loved ones, but we're towards the end, and so. Just going to close this out. Hopefully we play this game tomorrow and have a good game, and then head home and keep working on our games.
Yeah, so you mentioned the dynamic in this team, and there's a lot of continuity, not just from from last year to this year, but like building on each other. You've got guys who have years and years of you mentioned the poker game where you have sort of like vendettas almost against one another, and I'm curious how does that end up helping, or how does that shape the dynamic in the team when you have all these players who are that know each other on different levels and both good and bad, and I guess as two guys who have even more history together, how do you play into that?
I think for me, it's getting the new guys up to speed fast, right? Making sure that we get to know them quicker, right? They can often feel left out,
sure,
just because I have a good relationship with Alex or Jordan, and he sees us joking around the way we joke around with these guys. So we've been working on things to build our culture. We have Lenhart here helping us tell stories and get to know our teammates a lot better, but ultimately just getting the new guys up to speed and then forming chemistry on the field, right? Like I have really good connection with Jordan and long balls. But now can I still form that with Paul Riola, who seems like a new player because he was out all year, right? Those are the things that I think that we need to establish, right? Chemistry on and off the field, being open with each other, trying to get to know one another.
And, you guys, do you ever, I don't know, we're now, 7 years into you being teammates. Is there ever a moment where you look back on it and go, this is not normal? Like we have to have as many games together as brothers that you've played each other in a competitive international match even. Is there sort of pinch yourself moments where you're like, this is the stuff that we talked about as kids and it's really coming true?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me at least, people's careers go by so fast, and before you know it, you're towards the end of it, right? And so there have been moments in my career where I've taken a second to really feel the moment and really understand what we are living currently. Leagues Cup, for example, we won the final. We're getting interviewed and he's holding his daughter and I'm holding my son. And so it's just, for me, that was a small moment in which I kind of took a break and just really felt it. And so there's moments like that throughout my career, but it's just incredible to see, us both grow, both as players and as individuals, as family members, husbands, fathers. And so, it's a special feeling, and just to have our parents always come up and get to see that as well is a unique feeling. And so, I definitely, myself at least, take a time or two within the season to really appreciate it.
I think for me, honestly, my pinch moment, right, was when I gave the ball to him for the penalty in the Leagues Cup. Like, I'm like, holy crap, like I'm literally giving the ball to my younger brother to seal the game. And I believe that he's going to do it. And I've seen, all the sacrifices this guy has made, all the battles in the backyard. Like, that just came to my mind when I'm stepping over the PK spot, getting trash talked, and then just about to give the ball to Alex. So like, that was a moment where I just like pinched myself. Like, this is the best, like being able to share the field with my brother and win this trophy.
Yeah. Some of those other things that make this story, I think, so interesting is, and at this point we've kind of glossed over it a little bit because you've established yourself as like a real firm player in the team. But in, what was it, the 2019, after 2019, you had been cut by the team. You decided to come back and sort of make another run at it. What was sort of you must have had, there must have been competing ideas in your head about what to do. And sort of like, take us back to that off season for you.
Yeah. I mean, it was a tricky off season because, I didn't want to leave. I was happy there. Obviously, a little bit, disappointed with how my career had started. It's a tough team to break into.
Sure.
I was playing midfield, all over the midfield, winger, center mid. And so, to try to break into a team that was just so successful was difficult in itself. And so I kind of understood that. And in the off season, or at least my talks with Garth, he gave me the news and, he said, I'd like to invite you back to preseason. And so you have that option. And I kept that with me and checked to see if there were any options, and nothing really came to my doorstep in terms of at least a trial or something with another team. And so decided to give it another shot. But, when I came back, I figured, I tried out, I was there as a center mid or winger, and, it didn't really pan out. And so I don't really see what a trial at the same position would do for me. And luckily towards the end of 2019, I wasn't making the 18 man roster for games, and in training they were using me as a right back because of numbers. And so had a few reps there, was a little uncomfortable still trying to learn it. And then I told them at the time Kelvin was coming back on his last year of contract, and there's no backup right back. And I said, can I try out as right back? I was playing there all of basically playoffs. I was training there, and so they were like, "Yeah, that's fine." And then Jimmy Traore was the coach at the time, the assistant coach, and he really helped me focus in on trying to learn the position, and I think he was a big help for that. And I give him a lot of credit. And so yeah, fortunately, I was able to come back to the team at that position, and since then, just kind of ran with it.
And you sort of broke through at a very opportunistic time there, sort of down the stretch run, very good in the playoffs, and obviously helped the Sounders get to MLS Cup that year. And it's been sort of a pretty steady trajectory since then. You guys both obviously were in international World Cup qualifying together. You were both kind of that another thing that kind of dovetailed nicely, where you were kind of getting into the national team at the same time. Mm-hmm. Was there internal competition between you guys of how you're doing on the international stage, or is that more just pure happy to see what the other guys doing?
Yeah, for me, it was just pure happiness for him, pure happiness for myself. Just trying to make it, right. Like for me, at least, it was trying to push into the 26-man roster for the World Cup. Alex was, succeeding with El Salvador, doing so well for them. And then for me, being so proud of him, to be able to achieve something like that. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to go down there and the 3 days, 4 days that you might get off with the Sounders, like you're busting your butt, like, getting on a plane and then, not sleeping and then training and then playing in those conditions. Like it's not easy. And so for him to succeed in that, I mean, it's just kudos to who he is as a person.
And what was the experience of playing for El Salvador like? I mean, it's a country that you have an affinity for. I don't know how much time you had spent there, but you were coming in as a little bit of an outsider, even though there were some other sort of players in your similar situation. I mean, what was that whole experience like?
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I thought some of my best memories in my career will be on the national team. I think playing in a national team game against international players in different countries are experiences that, even 90% of pro athletes won't have. And so the games were incredible. The atmospheres were incredible. So for me, although it was kind of cut short, I enjoyed so much about it. And, the passion that country kind of fills their stadium, and the feeling that they give you is an incredible feeling. And for me, it's all great memories that I think I'll get to look back one day and be super grateful for.
And so, Cristian, you obviously went to a World Cup already, but this experience seems pretty different from the last one. How has this, how would you describe the differences in terms of the team dynamics and sort of the way that the buildup has been for this one?
Yeah, interesting, because I didn't think I'd be part of this buildup, right? Been out for 2 years. It came by pretty fast. And so I've had to get up to speed very quickly with the squad, with the coaching staff, understanding what role I might have, understanding their philosophies. So, I think with Greg, it was a little bit more steady in terms of I was in January camp. I had been called into camps throughout the 4 years leading up to the World Cup. And now it's all right. We're in go time.
Right.
We're 4 or 5 months away from the roster being released. And so for me, just enjoying that part of it, because, I have nothing to lose at this point. 5 months ago, I wouldn't be in this position, if I didn't get that call up in September. So I'm just taking it day by day and understanding it, that it could be taken away and not taking it for granted.
One of the big differences this year is you're playing a different position as well. Last year during the last cycle, you were more of an attacking player. This year, you're more of a defensive player. Alex, were you at all surprised to see his transition go as well as it's gone, from sort of going from a more attacking player to a more defensive player?
No, because I think when he was playing a right winger in front of me, I mean, I loved it because he was in front of me. He made my job so easy, and he probably was the reasoning why I had success early on in playing right back. But no, naturally, I think his best characteristics as a player were defensively as a 6 and just kind of covering players, and he's always had that characteristic, and so I don't see. To me, it didn't catch me as a surprise on how successful it's been for him. He's such a smart player, such a talented player, and really has extinguishing really good factors that help a team not only on the field. I mean, he's such a great leader as well. We all look up to him here in the Sounders, and I know for a fact that the coaching staff and the national team is looking at him for that aspect as well. And so he's a player that you want to have on your squad because he'll make it whole in terms of bringing everyone in for the collective. And so last year we had success because he really took that in and made it his priority to bring us together. And so I don't see how that won't happen with the national team if he's involved with them. So
thank you for listening to the Sounder at Heart podcast network, which now includes Nos Arietes, Lobbing, Scorchers, and the Cooler Guild. Although this podcast is free, it's only made possible through our paid subscribers. Plans start as low as $30 a year and allow us to remain independent and mostly ad-free. Subscribers get access to all our written and podcast content, including a full-text RSS feed and a mostly ad-free podcast feed that includes every show in one spot. If you really like what we're doing, though, I'd encourage you to sign up at our higher tiers, which include all sorts of various perks. The most popular of those is our members-only Discord, where the real Sounders sickos hang out. I know I've called this group the smartest, funniest, and best-informed Sounders fans in the world, but it's more than the rough equivalent of a Sounders Mensa meeting. Discord is where we make things happen, like for real. You know the promotion the Sounders ran that offered fans the opportunity to trade in their Messi jersey for a Paul Rothrock one? That originated in our community. You'll not only be the first to know about stuff, but you also have a semi-direct line to the movers and shakers at the Sounders organization. If you want to be one of the totally normal people who occupy the Sounder at Heart Discord, just become a supporter of Sounder at Heart. Anyway, thanks for listening, and go Durs. Nos Arietes, admittedly, is not exactly known for our spicy takes, but that doesn't mean we want our food to be mild. Spice up your life with Hacks and Ferments. Handcrafted in Georgetown and made with the best local ingredients from across the Pacific Northwest, they specialize in unique small batch fermented hot sauces and vinegars. Hacks and Ferments brings bold flavors and natural fermentation together for something truly special. Whether you're a heat seeker or just looking to elevate your cooking, you'll find something you love at hacksandferments.com. That's HAXANFERMENTS.com. And right now, if you use the code Sounder at Heart, that's all one word, at checkout, you will get a free hot sauce with your order. Again, go to hacksandferments.com, use the code Sounder at Heart at checkout for a free hot sauce with your order. Hacks and Ferments is a proud sponsor of the Sounder at Heart podcast network. You've talked, I feel like this has happened a few times where you've talked about how you're finally in a position that you are going to stay in, but we've also said that multiple times, multiple seasons. This feels different though, right?
Yeah, it feels different. After best 11, I think that Schmetz is like,
finally buying in.
We want to keep you there, we're chatting a little bit, with Obed being gone and, having different profiles in the midfield, and Hassani was, letting me be a little bit more free. And Schmetz is like, no, I want you to do that, Hassani. Like, we're going to keep Christian in the 6th spot. And so it feels solidified in that sense. But again, I know I can do, what Obed was doing in the 8th spot, right? Getting up and down the field. And it's about being flexible because things change so fast in soccer. And when you're with the national team, you're not going to complain when they're telling you, hey, you have to play as a 6 today or an 8 today.
Yeah. Are you guys prepared to start answering the question or telling people I knew Obed when?
I mean, yeah, I knew him when he was a kid, right? But I'm so happy for him.
I mean, like, you guys know him when he was a literal like a child.
Yeah.
I mean, his nickname to me, he would call me Unk. So as much as I hate to say that and where I'm at in life, but I'll be his Unk forever. And so, we're proud of him. He's a talented player who had so much going for him, and it was inevitable when and where he was going to end up, and so we're happy for him.
That is it is sort of another sort of surreal storyline that here's this kid you guys bring in from Alaska who dreamt of playing for Atletico Madrid, and he's playing for Atletico Madrid when you guys are conveniently in Spain,
right? And
he can take like a 1 hour plane ride to get there.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, what a story, right? Like, we played Atletico last year, right?
Yeah.
You see real tears in his eyes after the game, meeting Griezmann, right? Like, you couldn't have written a better script for Obed to go to Europe. And, it took a long time. But in the end, I think that he'll say that it was absolutely worth it.
What do you think if you had advice for him, what would you tell him? Like, is there, like, you've never necessarily been in those shoes, but you've played with these types of players before.
Yeah, I think for me, it's believing that you deserve to be there, right? Like treating those practices, those games, like you're the best player out there. That was the way I treated Club World Cup, and I wish I had that mentality earlier, right? Like that I can compete against these guys, that these guys aren't that much better than me. Like, if that, right? And I think if you have that winning mentality, if you have that confidence, it'll show in your play, because I think he's capable of so much. And I said it to Jordan, when it happened, like he's capable of starting for that team at some point, like, but he has to believe that. And so that was my message to him when I saw him last.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I would say, kind of along those lines, to keep working as well. He's so talented. He has all the tools to be successful, especially at that level. And the one thing that's going to really help him propel forward will be to learn from the people around him, learn from those coaches. The fact that he was playing Champions League for us at 16 is an incredible thing and that shows his type of character, where he has that confidence. And so I have no doubt that he will be confident in competing against these guys. It's just continuing to learn and getting better at those small things that really make a difference at that level.
What were those last few? I guess he was only here for a couple days, right? Or a few days. What was there a sense when he got here that this might be the last time we have him as a teammate?
Well, Obed was really quiet about the whole situation.
Yeah.
He didn't talk much about what was going on. I tried to get more out of him, and he would just be, really short with his answers. And so I kind of figured something was going on, but I don't know if he wanted to let it out, and, if it didn't happen, be sad that it didn't happen. And so he kept it hush hush. We figured that something was going down, but the fact that it happened so quickly, I think was very difficult. I think for him, for us not to get like a proper send off after what he's done for the club.
And I think that also kind of goes towards his character as well. He mentioned to me once, he said, I'm letting my agent figure that out, and I'm just going to keep playing. So, it's the type of person he was in. And I think that's exactly the reason why he deserves to be where he's at. He just wanted to play the sport he loves, and that's all he cared about. And so it was going to take him at those lengths regardless. So the fact that he didn't even want to think about it or communicate about it is something that really defines him as a person as well.
It does leave some hole on the roster. I mean, he was a player who was going to presumably play a lot of minutes for you guys. How do you think that changes the way the midfield stacks up?
Well, I think that you can't replace him, right? I mean, Obed is such a wonderful player. He did so much for the team that doesn't show up on a stat sheet. So I think it's going to take a group effort to kind of replace what he provided for the team. But we have different profiles in our midfielders. We've got Hassani, who, can tackle really well. He's very direct. You got Snyder, who's probably the closest to Obed in terms of on the ball and dribbling and getting into the box. And then you have Nico, who's a really good passer. Probably likes to play a little bit deeper. And so it's an interesting dynamic. I think that the coaches are going to have to work on, who they like the best and what they want out of that player. But again, I think it's going to take a whole effort. So I think whether it's Albert coming down a little bit more, Jesus coming down to help fill that void, really important for us to just compensate for who we just lost.
Alex, it seems like from the limited access we've had to your guys' preseason games, it seems like you've been a little bit of pinching in some to kind of create numbers in the midfield. Is that? And I don't know, guys, you hadn't played with Obed in any of the preseason games, or I guess
played with one.
You did play with one. Okay.
Yeah.
But how is that change? Does that seem like a real change for you in terms of what you're being asked to do?
It was something that I think the coaching staff wanted to experiment with. Obviously throughout the season, you'll see me in there or out wide. And so I think the way they utilize my position is more free flowing.
Mm-hmm.
So they've kind of given me the liberty to go, depending on where other players are, to kind of see the space and fill the void in certain areas. And so I would say, to answer your question, I would say that nothing is set in stone in terms of where they want me. And so they are always pushing for me to either be inside or be outside and kind of just have that freedom to look and help the team either build out or connect from back to front. And so I think you'll see that more often this year, where, especially with different personnel, now that we lost Obed, depending on the profiles of different players, what they tend to do will dictate where they want me on the field. So, and I think that's always what I've done in that position, is where they need me to be is where I'm willing to help. And so, I think moving forward, that'll kind of be the messaging from them to me.
And what have you made of the way Brian and the coaching staff in general have evolved the way you guys build out, the way that you defend? 2 years ago, or the last two years in a row, you were the top defensive team, but you guys were kind of struggling to score. Last year, you guys are suddenly scoring a ton of goals, maybe not quite as tight defensively. But I think to me, it's at least been an interesting tactical evolution
Mm-hmm.
of the way that you've approached the game.
Yeah, I think that we've all evolved a whole lot. Players, coaching staff, we've kind of all grown together. We've learned from one another. I think that when we work on things, we see results, and that's a beautiful thing, right? So this year we need to work on not conceding goals in transition and set pieces, and continue scoring goals in the way we were doing, because it puts us in a really good spot. But I think they've evolved a lot since I've gotten here with the Sounders. Our coaching staff has gotten so much better throughout the years. And again, I think in part it's experimenting, in part it's reflecting, in part it's watching film to get better. And I think we've all grown together in a great way.
Yeah, I mean, I would also say the messaging on the tactics with this group has kind of been there since we've done it for so long now, and now it's just refreshing on those little things. But the thing that kind of sticks to me is that at first we had issues scoring, now we had issues allowing goals. We've seen both work, and so now it's the belief of how we piece those both together and kind of have more of a balanced season where we're scoring goals but also limiting goals. And so the tactics, they're gonna make sure that those are as perfect as they can be, but at the same time it's how can we balance the two sides of the football pitch.
One of the other changes this year seems like it's going to be Andrew getting more run as with the first team as a starter. How does his style differ from Steph's?
Well, I think both goalies are good shot stoppers, and they do a really good job of 1v1s. I don't know who's going to start on game one of the season. I know you guys can speculate, but honestly, I don't even know. And so, but Andrew has the ability to really kick the ball far, and it really stretches our field. It makes the field so much bigger. Being able to kick the ball long, it's something that Vancouver does really well. And if you want to play in tight areas in front of our box, and we want to build out in from goal kick, you also have to be able to be extremely direct and almost direct towards goal. And so Andrew provides that. Now Steph does a really good job of not making mistakes. And sometimes that gets overlooked, because what the job of the goalie is these days, is to build out of everything, right? But Steph does a really good job of being conservative and not making mistakes. And I think that's why he's had such a steady career. But both great goalkeepers, both reliable, and I'm excited to see their battle, their challenges.
Anything that changes the way you play depending on who the goalkeeper is, or is that something you just are always doing?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think the messaging is from the coaching staff, at least, is if the ball goes back towards the goalkeeper, we have to be there to support in terms of building out. And I think our identity in the last few years has been really strong in terms of building out. I mean, we're probably one of the teams that have the most possession or retain the ball as much, and that's due in part to us being able to play out of the back. And so I don't think it changes on who's back there, but they both have distinguishing qualities that are both similar and different. And I think regardless, whoever's there it's going to be someone that's going to help us with the ball on offense and defense.
All right. Well, we're getting close to wrapping this up. I do have one last question though. The last time you guys were on this show together, you guys arm wrestled. Do you remember this?
Yeah. He'll still beat me. But there's no question about it.
I felt like the dynamic was unfair though, because you were playing and Alex was just here to prove a point.
I don't think we could do that again.
No, I don't.
Last time we did that, I remember our GM getting a little bit upset at us.
Yeah, Garth was watching and did not seem very happy about that.
But I know the clear answer and the clear winner, and that's my little brother.
Yeah,
and I gotta keep saying little brother because
people forget that. I think sometimes
it's a bit condescending.
Yeah,
and I got to put him in his place every now and then.
Okay, I do have one more question. So there is you guys are obviously. Everyone knows you guys are brothers, but you're actually one of three. You're two of three brothers. Yeah. How does Cristian being the middle brother actually play? And because I think people think of you as the older brother, but you're not really the older. You're the middle brother. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, my oldest brother Caesar would probably say the same thing as me. As we both look up to Cristian.
Okay,
we both look up to Cristian. He's obviously paved the way for us. He's had such a successful career. And is such a great individual that we just both look up to him. So it definitely is a little bit different in terms of our dynamic as a family. Most people would probably say that they look up to the oldest.
Sure.
And so even though we still do look up to our oldest brother, he's had a great career in terms of what he does for the Galaxy, where he's worked his way up and
lasted through multiple coaching changes.
Multiple coaching changes, has his own MLS Cup now that he can kind of talk some crap to us. And so he's catching up to us with that as well. But yeah, we look up to Cristian, and then I'm the youngest. I'm always trying to not get left behind. I'm still clawing my way, trying to follow their footsteps. And so that's kind of how our family dynamic is. And my parents love Cristian so much. So they look up to him as well.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say towards that. It's true.
It's true. That's bad. That's bad when he admits it. Yeah,
that's pretty telling.
It's true. but I do feel like we've grown whole lot as siblings, and we all have kids now, and the perspective on life is a little different, and so you can't take the favorite away from me. But what are you gonna do?
Are you guys? I mean, it is weird though that your folks still are living in Southern California, right?
Yeah, they can't get away from the sunshine, they say.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I thought it was season.
We try. No,
that's definitely it.
It's not that.
No, because if we lived in a sunny place, there would be a possibility of doing that.
It's just purely Seattle.
Yeah, I think so. So. But in all seriousness, they like me for sure, but it's hard not to like these two. My older brother and Alex with what they've done.
I thought you were about to say it's hard not to like me.
No. Come on.
I thought he was going to say it's hard not to like the sun, but no. Okay. That's a good place to end it. Hey guys, I really appreciate it. This is shaping up to be another fun season. I'm sure the Seattle weather will turn just in time for you guys to get back there, and it will be back to raining, and you guys will just be endless winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to get back, but thank you for having us. We appreciate it. And thank you for flying all the way up here.
Yeah, just for this.
Yeah.
Just to have Seattle weather in Spain. All right, well, with that, I'm Jeremiah Shan. This is Nos Adietes, and we'll catch you next time.
Let's go Sounders.